Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Peter here. Today we are reviewing Dusita's Splendiris. I managed to get a sample of this from Pissarra when I went to Essence in Milan. She very kindly gave me a sample to test out for review, and it's lovely. I wore this on the last night. There was a big kind of party that everyone went to on the last evening, and this was my scent of the night that evening. It's really nice on my skin. We're going to delve into a full review. When you first spray this one, I get this really beautiful soft violet note. It's slightly sweetened. It doesn't remind me of Parma violet, so it's not like a candied violet, but you get a violet-like note, ever so slightly sweet and a little bit creamy. I'll read you the official notes for the fragrance. You got bergamot and mandarin in the top, with violet leaf absolute, fig leaf, carrot seed oil, with orris butter, violet, rose de may, and jasmine sambac, and in the base vanilla, absolute, cedarwood, vetiver, and ambergris. So like I say, for me in the opening I get this beautiful violet-like tonality, slightly sweetened and slightly kind of creamy. It's got a rich floral creaminess, and as it dries down a little bit further from the top notes, I don't get too much of the citrus in the opening actually. I don't get really the mandarin or the bergamot. I get this beautiful kind of uplifting, bright kind of violet note and a little bit kind of sweet, musky and creamy. As it starts to dry down, I feel like the violet kind of note goes into more of the kind of an orris butter, but not in a cosmetic way. It's more of a buttery, creamy kind of orris with kind of dancing around jasmine. I feel the jasmine sambac is a cleaner variety of jasmine. It's not indolic. I feel like the way that the orris combines with the jasmine, and it kind of creates this creamy, sensual character that kind of reminds me a little bit of a lotion or a cream. Floral, and again slightly sweetened with that vanilla. The orris butter does have an interesting nuance to it as well though, or it could be even the carrot seed oil. I've never smelled carrot seed oil on its own, so I'm not familiar with that raw material, but reading up on it, it does give an impression of iris and a little bit earthy, like an earthy kind of iris-like note, apparently. Like I said, I've never smelled it, so I don't have that reference in my bank, but that makes sense because I do perceive a little bit of a hint of something maybe a little bit, not dirty, but a little bit earthy. When it dries down more into the base, I do notice a little bit more of the woods. You do get a hint of cedar, and you get kind of the rough grain of wood, just a nuance of it a little bit in the dry down, and also maybe just the faintest hint of vetiver, although it's not strong on my skin, but you get a whiff, like a nuance of the woods coming through in the dry down. The ambergris doesn't feel hugely dominant on my skin, but I feel like it does have a presence. It almost gives, or the impression that it gives is that it gives like a little bit of a shimmer or a sparkle to the whole composition as a whole. It kind of gives it this ethereal sparkle, kind of almost musky kind of quality to the scent, which is lovely. And again, I would describe it as almost kind of sensual. It's kind of sensual, a little bit seducing. It's interesting. It's soft. It's slightly feminine. Very, very lovely. In terms of performance, the projection and sillage is modest on my skin. It's more intimate in your own space for the first 2 hours. With a longevity of around 7 hours on my skin, lasting a lot longer on a t-shirt, but on skin 6 to 7 hours. So the performance is fine. It smells really good on my skin. I would say, if anything, I would judge it leaning a little bit on the feminine. I feel like Dusita have this natural kind of femininity to their fragrances. Passara really puts her touch on it, and I think that comes through in a lot of her fragrances. This kind of femininity, just delicate touch to the way that the scents are composed. This has that as well. So some men might find it leaning on the feminine. I would say in terms of like season or occasion when to wear it, spring and autumn comes to mind. Daytime, I think it would be work safe. If you're in an office spraying lightly, I think it would be fine. I also think it would be a dressed up fragrance if you wanted it to, as well as being casual. So it's kind of versatile, I think. Work safe, dressed up and formal, all good. Casual, great for, you know, daytime, spring, autumn. You could probably even pull that off in the summer if you sprayed a little bit lightly. Might not have the strength to cut through the cold of winter though. Altogether, I think this is really well blended. I think it smells great. I like the violet-like opening that's a little bit sweetened, going into more of the kind of this harmony I feel between orris and jasmine and vanilla, and this kind of ambergris coating kind of making it a little bit sparkly and ethereal and kind of musty. I don't know if it's the carrot seed, like I say, or the orris butter, but it does have a hint of a earthy quality to it. And yeah, this balance of the floral gives it this kind of creamy-like tonality, like I say. One aspect that struck me about the fragrance is the colour of the juice. I summed this up a few times by saying that it smells like how it looks. If you look at the colour of the juice in the bottle, it kind of smells like that. The texture as well, it gives me a very clear kind of idea of a texture, and it kind of reminds me of silk. So if you imagine kind of a wave of silk in the breeze, that is the colour of that juice, and you'll get a good idea in your mind of colour and texture. You know, like this kind of lilac coloured silk is a good representation of what to expect texturally and yeah, visually, I suppose, with the fragrance. It kind of does smell that way. Really nice. This is probably my favourite Dusita personally that I've enjoyed wearing myself. I think it's lovely. I would love to smell that on a woman. And I think it could smell really good on a guy as well. Like I say, it smelled really good on me. I wore it to the party. So I think it's well balanced. If you like orris and especially kind of violet-like top notes, this might be one you want to check out. You will need to appreciate floral-like fragrances though. I feel like the jasmine does play a kind of a key role in the mid of this fragrance, that very clean, buttery kind of jasmine with the way it's paired with the orris, giving you this kind of creamy tonality, this floral kind of creaminess, which is quite lovely. That's it. If you've tried it, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you again next time with another one. Bye.